Hello again, fellow YouTubers! Parrot Dragon back for another deck review, and let's face it, if you've seen my first deck review on this clan, you all saw this coming. So, I'm going to, re-review my Tachikaze deck known as Release the Raptors. I've messed with it a little bit because it was not doing much at all, and from the recent box opening, managed to put some new stuff in there. So, let's reevaluate. Let's look at this again. So, starter is still Military Dragon Raptor Soldier, because I'm still running the Raptor series, because I think that is a very effective way to run Tachikaze. Now, I have seen them run where you can have Destruction, Dark Rex, and Death Rex, and that seems like an okay combo. It's just, Dark Rex scares me, so I'm not going to use him. But yeah, nothing much to say here. It's the classic rare starter, ride the grade 1, and you can look for the grade 2 or grade 3. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I'll have links to my last description, last Tachikaze deck, my last Release the Raptors review. My last deck review of this deck, it'll be in the description, so I'm not going to go into as much depth on like the ride chain, because you should know what the ride chain is by now. So there's that. We got 4 carry trilobites. I still use 4 of these guys because I think draw triggers can be pretty useful in this Tachikaze deck because, let's face it, you need extra cards for when your Tachikaze units get killed. You need to get other units to replace that. And I have messed around with some of the other draw triggers, but this one I decided to keep because A, I like this draw trigger, and B, I need some draw triggers in here. So, not much to say here. Alright, you can see my first change. I now run 3 Pack Dragon Tiny Rexes. You remember these guys from my box opening of Demonic Lord Invasion. And when I got these guys, I'm just like, you know, let's try putting some stand triggers in there. And they aren't that bad. I don't use them as much, but they're useful for shield. So I decided to just put some stand in there and get rid of some draw, because I realized that I was losing with this deck, but I had a crap ton of stuff in my hand at the time, so I figured might as well at least put some more shield in there. So, yeah. Not much to say there. Still run 2 Black Cannon Tigers because I like their soul charge ability, but I don't fully rely on it, so that's that. Not much else to explain there. And I still run 3 Dragon Bird Fire Petrix because I need crit power. So before I go into my heals, basically my trigger lineup works. I have 4 draws, 5 crits, 3 stands, and now 4 heals, which I'm gonna show you. I switched my heal to Ironclad Dragon Steelsaurus just because I felt like having some more consistency in my deck. I realized that Savage Shaman was my only Savage and it was the only human in there. So I felt like just mixing that with this other one. I mean, the CL trigger isn't that bad. I mean, it's not the most appealing, but I've grown a little used to it. So I run 4 of those. Nothing special there. So besides Black Hand Tiger, nothing special about the trigger lineup. So let's move on to grade 1s. First change. I now run 2 Transport Dragon Brachioporters. And for those of you who think that the Brachio series is weak, yeah, I can understand your reasoning for that. But I find these guys to be very useful. I added them because I realized, I have enough. Let's just throw them in there and see what happens. And ever since then, my Tachikaze deck has been doing substantially better than it was before. Because, basically, if I have Porter down, and I don't have anyone else out on the field, when Colonel activates his Limit Break, Counterblast 1 for Colonel, and then when I retire this guy, Counterblast again, and now I can get Carrier out on the field. Now, I only use 2 because, well, that's all I have, and I don't feel like I feel like 3 or 4 would be overkilling, because, again, these are not very strong. And this way I have room for stronger units, but I still have them so that I can get more stuff out on the field. So there's that. Still only run one Arc Bird. If you saw my deck, if you saw my Demonic Lord Invasion box review, put that in the description as well. Wonderful. I pulled a second one. I debated whether putting this in there, but then I looked at it and I'm just like, you know, I have morals, I'm sticking to them, so I'm only keeping one here. So I'm basically using that Arc Bird for trade and whatnot. So, still only one Arc Bird. Still run 4 Military Dragon Raptor Sergeants. Not much to say here. Last review can explain how the Raptor series works. But yeah, I run Raptor series, so I need Raptors. Anywho. Still run, well, I think it's 3 now. I might have changed that. I run 3 Winged Dragon Beam Taros. I'm not sure if I had 4 before or if I've had 3 before, but basically I kill this guy and I get +3 to something. So when Raptor Colonel kills him, that's... So instead of just giving Raptor Colonel 7, it's basically giving Raptor Colonel a 10. So that puts Raptor Colonel at 20, which is pretty useful, actually. And still run 4 Sonic Novas, because I like using the AK Beat Stick. It's useful, and it's really helpful when boosting Raptor Colonel. Again, I'm basically just going to go into detail about stuff that I changed, stuff that I kept the same. You can see in my last review, which will be in the description most definitely. If I forget, I will never forget myself. Alright, moving on to grade 2s. 2 Carrier Dragon Barachio Carriers, just like Barachio Porter, so I basically only have like 2 of each of the Barachio series. Barachio Carrier does what Porter does for Carrier. So Porter, you search out this guy. When Carrier gets retired, Counterblast 1, you search out the grade 3 Barachio, which I will show later. And yeah, it's a weak grade 2, but it's still useful just to get other stuff out on the field, because I can attack with something, retire it, call out more, and then with this Barachio series, I can call out more stuff and attack again. It's giving me an extra attack, and I realize that is somewhat useful in this deck. Now, if this would have been 8, I don't think people would complain as much. I think if this was an 8 and maybe Transport Dragon was a 6, I think people wouldn't complain about this series, the Barachio series as much. But as it is, they're still pretty good, I think. I will defend them because I've used them and they do pretty well for me. So there's that. Still running 4 Military Dragon Raptor Captains. It's the Raptor Ride Chain. That's all I'm going to really say about Raptors and whatnot. Gotta stop saying that. Ugh. I run 3 Winged Dragon Splash Taros. That's the same as last time. Splash Taro is like Beam Taro. Kill it, give +3 to something. So instead of giving a 9 to something, I'm giving a 12 to Raptor Colonel usually, because that's all I really use these guys for. It's for Colonel. And finally, get out. Gotta figure out a way to move these guys out of the way. Get out of the way. Show off my other stuff. Just gonna move this stuff so I can... Alright. I now run 3 Ravenous Dragon Mega Rexes. I originally ran 2, but when I got a 3rd one, I'm just like, you know, I think it'd be smarter to run 3 of these. And people were telling me to run 3 of these, and yeah, I can understand why. So I now run 3 of the Vanilla Beat Stick. And he works. He's useful. It's better than just having 2. Finally, my grade 3 lineup. Only thing that's really changed, I now run 2 Citadel Dragon Barachio Castles. So, you're probably thinking, alright, Porter gets Carrier, Carrier gets Castle, what does Castle do? Castle basically gets Porter. So basically, it's a circle. Kill Porter, get Carrier. Kill Carrier, get Castle. Kill Castle, get Porter. So I basically can do that up to 2 times. Again, I don't fully rely on this, but it was much better than the jumbled mess of having Cannon Gear and Savage Destroy and everything in there. It was a much more jumbled mess. So this is a little more consistent for me because I know what I'm pulling out. And if I can't pull these guys out, like I have a porter in the damage zone, I'll be like, alright. Now I know that there's a porter in the damage zone, which means there's a more likelihood of getting something else. And also, first I didn't find this very appealing, but when I found the little head, which is right there, and then looked at the whole thing, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this actually looks pretty awesome. And again, they were there, so I felt like using them. I run still one Tyrant Deathrex because he's proven himself to be good in this deck. He does really well in this deck. Grant there's only one. I would like to have another one of him, but if I can't, oh well. It doesn't concern me that much how many of him I run. And I'm just going to move this over. 4 Military Dragon Raptor Colonels. Basically, Colonel, Limit Break. Counterblast 1, kill 2 rearguards. Get those rearguards power. Attack with it. Kill your enemies. Really simple. Raptor series. My first review should explain that better, and I'm just gonna show all that. So that is basically a re-review of my Tachikaze deck. Release the Raptors. So, this has been Parrot Dragon, and next review I'm gonna do, I'm not really sure. I have like 3 or 4 decks in the making. One of them isn't fully done yet, and it still needs some stuff to come out from some sets that haven't been released in America yet. And they're like, the 3 decks that I have complete but aren't ready yet need like 1 to 3 more cards. So hopefully I can get. So this is kind of a filler at the time. I'll see what I can do otherwise Vanguard related. I'm gonna try to figure out how to start recording more of the tournaments that I go to, my local tournaments, because that's all I really go to. And let me look at the time. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So, this has been Parrot Dragon, and signing off.